Hi lovies, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking you through my experience working in living care, how I got on with the process. I'm going to be talking to you about my agency, not the name of my agency. Please do not ask for that in the comment section. That will be breach of contract. I'll be talking to you about my pay. I'll be telling you how much I made from the living care experience. It was a 27-hour shift. And yes, I got paid overtime because the shift got extended by 3 hours. I'm also going to be talking to you about the tasks involved, what we did throughout the whole task, and the specifics, some specifics, because I cannot tell you everything, of the job. And yes, Alright, so before we go into today's video, let us give a shout out to today's sponsor. The sponsor of today's video is Sentinya, and they have sponsored this segment of the video. So Setinya specializes in packaging beauty products, and so they're known for their immaculate packaging and their top grade quality boxes. They also display different kinds of items ranging from beauty products and different kinds of beauty products. So if it's something that you're currently interested in, I will leave a link to their details in the description box. So they sent me this beautiful package, and this is the Body and Earth box. All right, so let's unbox this together. Amazing packaging. This is aesthetically pleasing. This can go for a gift to yourself, a gift to someone. If you have a colleague in healthcare as well, you can send this to them. This box goes for £20 and change. So yes, this is something you can afford. Valentine's season is around the corner, and you don't want to be caught unprepared or unattended to. All right, be a bull to yourself. So this box will cost you about £20 and change, and that is really small money compared to the luxury that you see before you. All right, so this comes with a shower gel, hand lotion, bubble bath. This is also a body lotion, a massage bar soap, and a facial cream. So this is a very lovely set. I will be doing a comprehensive video on this on Instagram. Please, by the way, if you're not following us on Instagram, you're missing, because you're getting to see the fun side of me on Instagram. So yeah, head over to Instagram, and that's where I'm going to be unboxing this and trying all of this out. When you work in healthcare, you will want to spoil yourself to some certain degree, to just give yourself that spa treatment and just spoil yourself a little, live a little, enjoy your money. I also forgot to mention that they are an Amazon vendor, so you can find them on Amazon, so you can guarantee that this delivery will be spot on. I got this delivered to me less than 2 days from when I ordered my package. All right, so let's get into today's video. So I have tried living care. I have stepped into another aspect of care. I know you people might be thinking, Tola, what is happening? What's your problem? I don't have a problem. I was just curious, and besides, I had a free time, so I picked up an agency shift. Watch this clip and I will be back. So I decided to try something out for the first time. It actually was a spontaneous decision. It was a spur of the moment decision, and I decided to try living care. This also doubles as my first experience working with an agency. I thought I would never ever venture into living care. Like, I would never do it. Like, oh, it's risky, just me and the client. But honestly, this shift has been very manageable. I have a couple of hours before the shift is over. This shift obviously started the day before, so yeah, that doesn't mean that I still don't have my permanent job, but your girl is still looking for money, but I'm doing it with sense. This is my first ever shift, you guys. This is my first shift with an agency. My experience hasn't been bad. I'll say that for free. Like, my experience hasn't been bad. I've actually had a very good shift. So I'm heading home now to rest and just spend time with family, because even though we're chasing money, we must not lose family. All right, so in that clip you just watched, I had free time to talk about me joining the live-in care aspect of healthcare, and this is something that I've always shied away from. I think I've mentioned this in a couple of my videos, so I never wanted to dabble into this, but I had free time, and the money was good. We'll get to the money talk later, but let me just tell you the backstory on how I got this job. So I registered with a local agency here in Darlington, and I picked up their shifts, and they sent me to this resident's house. So I've done a couple of shifts with them, but this particular one was my very first shift with this particular agency, and it wasn't a bad experience, honestly, if I'm being truthful. All right, so let me just run you down through the process of what we did as soon as I got on the job. Obviously, as I got the job and registered with the agency, I was given like an instruction on what to do. I was given a briefing regarding the kind of people I was going to meet, so I wasn't thrown into the deep end like when I got on the job. So I was told about, you know, their history medically, and I was also talked through regarding their care plan, and you know what they are used to, and their allergies, you know. Now, for this particular shift, which was my very first shift, I was told that the clients were COVID positive, so I had to wear protective gear and all of that. So the clip you just watched was when I had taken off all of the protective gear and I was ready to, you know, freshen up and then put on a fresh pair. Some of these houses and some of these clients that you're going to see have specific and peculiar situations that, you know, just for them. Some of them might be living with learning disabilities, some of them might be just old and looking for companionship, some of them are, you know, dealing with dementia, some of them are schizophrenic. It could be different diagnoses for different patients, but for this particular client, I'm not going to go into the specifics, so I'm not going to talk about their diagnosis. I'm just going to say that they were COVID positive, and it was a requirement to put on PPE. So as soon as I got into the resident's home, I introduced myself, obviously, and got a handover from the carer who was currently on the shift I was taking over from. And you know, she had given me a rundown on what had happened the last time she had given medication, the last time she had fed them. So if you work in a care home, you kind of have a feel of, you know, what the living care situation will be, only that you won't be catering to so many people. It would just be a couple of people or just the one person. All right, so as soon as I had that, I was also given their handover book where, you know, she had written and documented everything that happened on her shift. So I made a point to read it. It's always very important to read the handover book and, you know, read the first page of the care plan of each person that you are caring for in the house. So as soon as she had, you know, given me a proper handover, showed me where the medication was, showed me where their food was. So my shift started around 3 in the afternoon, so you know, was relatively around the evening-ish time. The last meal of the day was approaching, and I had to just prep for that. I also got a call from the manager and, you know, the person managing this particular client, and she just gave me a few pointers to, you know, how they like to be cared, what they like to do, sort of their routine before they go to bed and when they wake up in the morning. This may not be what will happen to every single person, but this was my experience, right? So as soon as I was done with the call with the manager, I went ahead to start preparing their meal, and I prepared their meal according to their care plan. Some of them had, you know, specific requirements regarding to the type of food, the texture of the food, the size of the food. You bear in mind that I didn't just jump into this. I'd been doing care for a good 6 to 8 months before I actually did this. So that was why I was kind of given the okay to go ahead and, you know, take this job with. So it was kind of easy for me to flow into that because I'd already had this previous experience of working in a care home. I made sure that the meals were prepared and given to the clients at the right temperature. It also has to be time sensitive as well. You kind of have to encourage them to keep eating, remember to keep chewing their food, drink water, and, you know, just if they don't want to finish their food, it's all right. You don't have to force them to eat every single bite. I mean, they're in their own home. I mean, I believe that that's one of the advantages of having a living kind of situation as opposed to working in a care home where, you know, you have kind of mandated to just do things according to the book. You're kind of in your own space. So I think it's actually better for people to have the living care experience, especially for the clients, because they are able to express themselves a lot better. They are in their own space. They have family coming over whenever they want to. So anyways, after that was done, I had to clean up, you know, everything that I used for their dinner, and also try to get them ready for bed, like picking out their pajamas and a change of socks and things like that, trying to get them comfortable. For one of them, they wanted to have a hot water bottle in their bed, so I had to prepare that and put it in the bed before they were ready to go in. So things like that. because of the peculiar situation of the clients that I was dealing with, I told them that I will not be offering personal care. And the reason why I said that was because obviously it is sensitive environment, and because of COVID and all of that, I have children that I'm going back to at the end of this shift. I cannot expose myself to COVID and, you know, dealing with personal fluids and all of that. So I let my agent know that I cannot provide personal care to any client because of the peculiar situation, and I wasn't ready to expose myself to all of that. So it was kind of an agreement going into the home. So if you are not comfortable with anything, please let your agency know. Let them be aware that this is something that you are not going to do. If it's medication, if it's feeding or assisting with personal care, or even moving and handling, please let your agency know that you cannot do these things, or you're not comfortable doing it on your own. If you require assistance, there might be a separate person with you. In this particular situation, I didn't have another person staying with me, and I had 2 clients to take care of in that particular home. Now, this is not what it is in every typical experience. 2 of us in some cases, there was 1 of us in some cases. So it depends on the requirements and obviously the care plan of that person. Their requirements might be a 2-to-1 or a 1-to-1, meaning that they might require 2 people to cater to 1 person, or 1 person to cater to 1 person. So in this case, I was attending to 2 clients because they were fairly mobile and they were moving on their own, and they needed encouragement, remember to finish their tasks. They just needed encouragement with medication and feeding and things like that. So after dinner, they sat down for a couple of minutes in front of the TV. Well, a couple of hours really. They sat out in front of the TV watching soap operas and game shows and TV shows and things like that before they felt tired, and then they went to sleep. Now, for my own situation, I had a separate room where I was going to spend the night, and this was where all the carers who came in to give care to these 2 residents in that home would stay. So this was like the carer's room. All right. So I don't know if that is a requirement for everybody, but this was what I experienced. So it depends on whatever situation you find yourself in, but just let them know, or you can ask your agency what the sleeping arrangement will be. All right. So the next morning, they didn't want to get up, and, you know, as opposed to working in a care home, you know, by 5 o'clock, by 4, in some cases by 4, by 5, you're already waking them up, dressing them up, whether or not they want to get up, or, you know. But in this particular case, they take their own time. It's just that at some point you have to keep going in to encourage them to get up and, you know, brush their teeth, get dressed, come and get something to eat. You have to use your medication at a certain time, so you have to have had your breakfast by this time. So you kind of had to keep encouraging them, as opposed to, you know, the way the care home is structured. You can tell that I really don't like the structure of the care home, and I kind of prefer the flexibility of the living care. I mean, these people we care for are human. I mean, you can't just treat them according to routine. What works for one person doesn't work for the other, and these people are elderly people. I don't think they want to be told what to do at a certain time. Yes, they're growing weaker, you know, their immune system is failing and all of that. But I mean, what is the need for having to wake them up at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and be changing and dressing them, turning and tossing and all of that? I understand that for blood circulation and all of that, you have to turn and toss some other people and record that. But then, I mean, anyway, so as far as documentation went, before I slept that night, I made sure I documented every single thing I did. One of them had to get paracetamol because they were feeling pain in their body, and I had to document that as well. I wrote all of that in the handover note, and I also made sure I called my agency to give them like a recap, a voice call recap of what had happened for the day shift. And then, you know, this was what had happened. You know, my agency also called me. Being my first shift with them, they also called me to check up on me and see how I was doing. So I had that support from my agency. So please, if you are working with an employer and you don't have their support, you kind of know that this is not the place for you, because it's not like they have your best interest at heart. Even if it's not your first shift, I mean, if they're sending you to a new place or somewhere different or out of your comfort zone, there should be that follow-up. There should be that, you know, checking up on you to see that everything is all right, asking if there was any incident that you could not manage and all of that. So yeah, I believe that the support from employers can also go a long way in helping, you know, the state of mind of the carer. I also forgot to mention that I brought along a blanket and some food for myself. I brought some sachet of noodles and some snacks so that nobody will accuse me of eating the client's food. So the next morning, I'd encouraged them to get up, get dressed, give them breakfast. Also, had light conversations with them, picked out their clothes for the day, just encouraged them to just get changed, get dressed. They like to color, they like to do things for the day. Bear in mind that this was a 27-hour shift. It wasn't supposed to be a 27-hour shift. It was kind of supposed to be a 24-hour shift. But the person who was going to come and relieve me didn't come on time, so it kind of got extended, which worked to my advantage because it means I got paid overtime for the 3 hours that I stayed over extra. The living care experience kind of made me understand that you should never say never, because it's usually very easy to say, oh, I will never do this, I'll never do that, but don't knock it till you try it. I actually prefer the living care because it's more patient-centered care, it's more personal-centered care than what you would have in a care home, and you're basically getting paid almost the same amount for these long hours that you're working and all of that. All right, so let's talk about the part that most of us are interested in. When it came to the pay for the whole shift, I was supposed to be paid about 760 something pounds, but because it was not my only job, the tax kind of got into emergency tax. And you people, if I tell you that at the end of the day, they only paid me £450. When they were going to deduct tax and everything, when they had done all the deduction and everything, I was only paid £450 out of 760 something pounds. You guys, it was at that junction that I had to step away and say, living care, let's just leave it for people who are like, this is my main job. If you have a permanent job, please stick to it. Don't let them emergency tax you, because I was pained to the bone. This was a very long time. I had stayed in someone's house overnight, and someone sitting inside AC and drinking tea from morning and night is using Bible to calculate and cut my money. I was pained to the bone, but what can I do? The disadvantage of this is that you're working alone, working on your own. You are prone to errors. You might not get someone to point it out. Sometimes the manager might not be there to, encourage you or to point out your errors, or, just to put you on your feet or keep you on your toes. But you have to be extremely careful. Make sure you document every single thing. Carry your agency along, because they're the ones who are going to back you up if, there's ever anything. If anything happens, no matter how minute the detail is, I think you should still record it and just pass it on to the next person. So what can I tell you? At the end of the shift, the person who was supposed to come take over, I did the same thing. I had to give them a handover, show them where the PPE was, show them where they will be sleeping for the night. And yeah, that was it. You guys, I actually enjoyed working in the living sector. I think it's very nice if you have an understanding agency or an employer who's concerned about you and not just about getting the job and getting their own cut of their own money. But anyway, you guys, all right, so if you've tried living care before and you have a similar experience or you have a totally different experience, let's continue this conversation in the comment section. Please remember to patronize Sentinya and get yourself a luxury package like this. Spoil yourself. You are making money. Spend something on yourself. £20 will not kill you. If you found anything of value in this video at all, please do well to give it a huge thumbs up. It does a lot to help my analytics and also to get other people to see this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one.